Now let's turn our attention to step 2 in the process of building utility tables. In this step, we must identify the marginal utility, or additional happiness, a person can expect to receive from each alternative in our table. Since we listed buying the book as the first alternative in our table, let's first think about the marginal utility for buying a textbook. Now you might be tempted to believe that textbooks do not generate any additional happiness, but this is not quite true. After all, textbooks do give you additional information and knowledge. Additionally, buying a textbook helps improve your performance in a course, therefore lifts your GPA and improves your future job prospects. Clearly, therefore, buying a textbook generates some additional happiness. It is important to remember, though, that the amount of happiness received from a book varies from person to person. For example, the amount of happiness you can expect to receive from an economics book is likely very different than the amount of happiness I can expect to receive from that exact same book. Therefore, we must remember that these utility tables represent individual decisions and reflect individual preferences. In other words, different people with different preferences must be represented in different tables. So how can we tell how much happiness a student expects to receive from a book? As a general rule, we can tell how much happiness a person expects to receive from something by how much they are willing to sacrifice for it. If you think about your own preferences, you'll see that the things in your life that are the most valuable to you, like your friends, your family, your home, are the things for which you are willing to sacrifice the most. Likewise, the things in your life that have less importance for you are the things for which you are willing to sacrifice less. So let's say that a hypothetical student is willing to sacrifice $150 in order to buy this textbook. It is important to note that this is not the actual price or what they have to pay. This $150 is the absolute maximum price the student is willing to pay. It is what you are willing to pay, not what you have to pay, that is an indicator of the additional happiness this student expects to receive. What about the marginal utility for not buying the book? Well, if you do not buy the book, you get to save the money that you would have spent if you had chosen to buy the book. If the price of the book is $140, then you get to save that $140. Therefore, compared to the other alternative in the table, which was to buy the book, this student has an extra $140 if they choose to not buy the book. This money saved by choosing to not buy is the marginal utility for not buying the product. Now on the next page, we turn our attention to step 3, identifying the marginal costs for each of these alternatives.